Hi there. In the study of linear algebra, it's very important to know about eigenvalues and eigenvectors. So when I was a student, I'd learned about the procedure to calculate these things, and it wasn't actually a difficult thing to do. And even if you now refer to many textbooks on linear algebra and refer to the hundreds of videos on YouTube, you can see how to actually go about determining these eigenvalues and eigenvectors. But when I was a student, I never knew what these things are. I didn't understand what the point of them was. I never understood what they meant, and I never knew why we even learnt about it. It wasn't just explained. It just wasn't explained. And even if you look at the textbooks and videos that I spoke about now, it's still not clear what these things actually are. It's just simply told how to go about determining it. So that's what I want to do in this video. I want to explain what exactly are eigenvalues and eigenvectors. I want to explain what they mean, and I want to also show how they can be so useful in many different applications. So I'm going to start just by considering these two axes, that's x1 and x2. And on this axis x1 and x2, we have two vectors. So this orange vector is coordinates 1, 2, and this red vector is coordinates 2, 2. Now what we're going to consider is a transformation of these vectors. So when we say a transformation, what we mean is the fact that they can change in size. In other words, they can become smaller or larger, and the fact that they can also be rotated, so they can change their actual direction. So how do we go about doing a transformation on a vector? So what we would need to do is that we multiply it by a matrix. So let's just do that. So we have this vector 1, 2, so that's the orange one, x1 and x2, so there's x1 and x2, and we have some kind of matrix that we're going to multiply it by that's going to change its size and possibly its direction. So let's see that. So the matrix we're going to multiply by is something arbitrary, so it can be 3, 0, -1, 4. And what do we get when we multiply this matrix and this vector? So let's just compute it. So we have 3 times 1, which is 3, and 0 times 1, which is 0. Then we have -1 times 1, which is -1, and then 4 times 2, which is 8. So the result that we get is 3 and 7. So this vector 1, 2 has been transformed into 3, 7. So let's just draw that. So 3, 7 is probably going to look like something like this. Okay, it's supposed to be a straight line, but I think you get the idea. So if we now do the same thing to the red vector, so this now is 0.22. We have 2 and 2, and we multiply it by this matrix 3, 0, -1, 4. So what we get is 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 0, and then -1 times 2 is -2, and plus 8. So this gives us the result 6 and 6. So if we draw that, we can see that 2, 2 becomes 6, 6. So I'm just going to draw it parallel to this vector, but I think it's quite easy to see that they are actually in the same direction. So that is the vector 6, 6. So let me just write what we've done in terms of notation. We have this vector 2, 2, so that we can call that x with a bar underneath, and then we've multiplied it by a matrix, and we've performed a transformation on this vector. So this is 6, 6. So this a times x. So ax is equal to 6, 6, right? So we write this 6, 6. Now let's compare it to this vector 2, 2. So we have 2 and 2. So if we just compare this 2, we can see that 6, 6 is just a multiple of 2, 2. Specifically, if we take this 2, 2 and we multiply it by 3, we get this 6, 6. So this multiple, we'll just call it lambda. And now let's just understand what we have just seen. We have taken a vector, we transformed it by multiplying it by a matrix, and we got a multiple of that vector. So this is what an eigenvector is. And this 2, 2 is what we call an eigenvector. So let me write that. It is a vector that when we multiply it by some kind of matrix, in other words, transform it, we get a multiple of that vector. And that specific multiple is what we call an eigenvalue. So looking at vector 1, 2, we can see that it's not actually an eigenvector of this matrix, because when we do this multiplication, we got the vector 3, 7, and 3, 7 is not in any way a multiple, or rather a single multiple of this vector. So that is the purpose of eigenvectors and eigenvalues. When we transform a vector, we get literally something that doesn't change. You can see that the direction of this vector has not changed in any way. We can see that maybe this orange vector, that's rotated a certain amount, but the direction of this red vector is still the same after we have done this transformation. And not only is it the same, it's simply just a single multiple of this original vector 2, 2. So that is the point of eigenvalues and eigenvectors. So another way of looking at it is by saying that we have this matrix, and the eigenvector of that matrix is a specific vector 2, 2, that when we multiply it by or transform it, we just get a scaled version of that vector. And that scaling factor between those two is the eigenvalue. And now, what is the significance of this? What's the purpose of this? What does this actually tell us? It tells us that in any situation, we have a mechanism of identifying something that doesn't change. And it's very important to understand things that don't change in many different physical applications. For example, if we have a wheel, and on this wheel, we have many different points, values, etc. So if this wheel is rotating, it's just spinning. It's not rolling, but it's just spinning, right? All the points along this wheel, whether it's along the outside and on the spoke of the wheel and so on, are all moving. In other words, they are changing their direction, they're changing their position and so on. But if we look at the center is where our axle is. So that's not changing, right? So even if the wheel is spinning, the center is not changing in position. Remember, we said that the wheel is just spinning. It's not rolling around along the ground. So this center, the fact that it's not changing in position, signifies that we are talking about an eigenvector. It's like analogous to an eigenvector. So another example of that would be a light filter, if we wanted to think about a laser or something like that. So here we have white light, and we know that white light actually is a spectrum of values. So we have light coming in, and it's going to some kind of filter. We can designate it by something like that. And we want a specific color to come out, for example, the color red. So in this entire spectrum of colors, all of it changed somehow. All of it was deflected or filtered out, so on, by being a filter. However, one thing did not change, and that was the color red. So the color red came out just as it was in the original beam of light. So what that means is that it is also analogous to an eigenvector. So this is the whole purpose of it. It's a way by which we can identify if something is not actually changing in what we're studying, and that has many different applications. For example, in physics, in quantum mechanics. For example, if we think about the energies of electrons, and we think about different energy levels and so on, we want to identify certain scaled up values of energy levels, and they would be eigenvalues, and the fact that they are not changing means that they are eigenvectors if we consider them moving up in steps. So I'm just going to now look at the actual process of determining an eigenvalue and eigenvector. So we can start off by considering our equation. So our equation was, we have some kind of vector vector x, and we transformed it by this matrix. And this is now equal to this original vector, but it's been scaled up by some value lambda, which is the eigenvalue. So the problem is, or the problem statement is to determine the eigenvalue and the eigenvector by considering the matrix. So we want to determine the eigenvalues and eigenvectors of the matrix. So what we're going to do firstly is we're going to move the right hand side to the left hand side. So that becomes a x minus lambda x and that's equal to 0. So we're going to take x out as like kind of a common factor. So we're going to have x on the outside, and we're going to have this matrix A. And now we're going to have minus. We can't just have lambda on its own because it doesn't make sense to take a matrix and to subtract a scalar from it. We can only subtract a matrix from a matrix. So we have to convert this scalar into some kind of matrix. And the way we do it is by multiplying it by I, and I is just a unit matrix. So if we're talking about a 3 by 3 matrix, then I would just be the matrix 1, 1, 1 along the diagonals. So the easiest example to think about this is the unit vector. We use the unit vector to designate if something is in a certain direction, and this unit matrix I has that same effect. It allows us to convert the scalar to make it look like a kind of matrix. So now we're left with this equation that's equal to 0. And if we think about it now, what we're doing, this term that's in brackets is actually a matrix. And now we're transforming this vector x, and now we're making it 0. So for this transformation to actually happen, it means that this term in brackets, this matrix, actually has to be singular. And if it's a singular matrix, then what it means is that the determinant of this term in brackets, this matrix, has to be equal to 0. So the determinant of A minus lambda I is equal to 0. So that is called the characteristic equation. So the question can be, find the eigenvalues and eigenvectors of A is equal to 3, 0, minus 1, 4. And that was our original problem that we had just considered now. So we firstly determine this term, this A minus lambda I. So A minus lambda I. That's going to equal to 3, 0, minus 1, 4. And we're going to subtract this I times this lambda. So that will be lambda, 0, and 0, and lambda. So this is equal to 3 minus lambda, and essentially 0, minus 1. And then 4 minus lambda. Okay, let me just write that a bit better. So we have 4 minus lambda, and there's a 0 there. And what we need to do is we have to use this characteristic equation. So we find the determinant of this and set it equal to 0. So the determinant of A minus lambda I is equal to finding the determinant of this. So we have 3 minus lambda times 4 minus lambda, and then minus 1 times 0 is just 0. So this entire term is equal to 0. So we just solve this. So we can just see that lambda is equal to 3, and that lambda is equal to 4. So this correlates with the fact that we had seen earlier in our example that we had 2, 2, and we multiplied it by 3 to get 6, 6, which is what this transformed vector actually was. So 3 is the eigenvalue, and we have now shown algebraically how it's equal to 3. So this was the eigenvalue. So we can now determine the eigenvector, and to determine the eigenvector, what we do is we substitute inside our equation, and that equation is A minus lambda I times x is equal to 0. So that equation we had written here on the top. And this will allow us to determine the eigenvector. And the eigenvector in this case is x. So let's do that. So we have A times lambda I. So that's 3 minus lambda, and lambda will firstly take to be 3. So 3 minus 3 is 0. And then we have 0, and then we have minus 1, and then 4 minus lambda is just 1. And what we're determining is x, that's the eigenvector. So we have x1, x2, and that's equal to 0. So since this first row is equal to 0, so that's just a trivial solution. So it doesn't really help us in any way. So we can now compare it to the second row, and the second row says that minus 1 times x1 is equal to x2. So what this means, is equal to minus x2. So that means that simply x1 is equal to x2. So we haven't actually determined a distinct eigenvector for specific values of x1 and x2, which we can actually do. We can do that. But what this is saying is that since the first row is trivial solution, we can choose any value for x1 as long as the value for x2 is the same. So the eigenvector for this particular matrix can be anything as long as they are the same values of x1 and x2. So we could choose x1 to be 1, and therefore x2 to be also 1. We can choose x1 to be 2, and x2 then should also be 2. We can choose x1 to be 3, and therefore x2 should also be 3, and so on like that. So if we compare this to our original eigenvector, we can see that it is actually 2, 2. So that is the whole purpose of this. So this can be extended to higher dimensions. So this procedure would remain exactly the same. So if we had a 3 by 3 matrix, all we would do is we would use this characteristic equation to determine A minus lambda I, find the determinant, set it equal to 0. And then after that, we would solve for the eigenvalues, and then we would substitute it inside this equation to find the eigenvectors. So the purpose of this video was just to give a simple illustration of what are eigenvalues and eigenvectors. We saw that the whole purpose of studying eigenvalues and eigenvectors was actually to determine what quantity or what is not changing about a system. And we saw that if we have this vector 2, 2, it's an eigenvector because when we transform it by multiplying it by a matrix, we get a vector that is exactly in the same direction as this vector 2, 2, but has just changed in size. How much it's changed in size by the scaling factor is called the eigenvalue. And the fact that it didn't change at all means that it's called the eigenvector. So this is the quantities that's very important, and we saw some applications of this, with the wheel and the light filter and so on. So I hope that this has given a very simple understanding of what exactly are eigenvalues and eigenvectors. Thank you very much for watching.